The protest during Donald Trump's inauguration earlier this year ended with hundreds of people being rounded up en masse by the police. And they were charged with rioting-related offenses. And very early on in the legal process that followed, it became clear that the police had basically no evidence, no ability to point to a particular person and say what it is that they believe they actually did. But despite that, we have been waiting to find out what's going to happen once judges actually start ruling on all of these people. It's literally hundreds of people waiting around to find out what their legal fate would be. Now we have some good news. For the first 6 individuals at the very least, the 6 defendants had faced 7 charges each. The jury returned 42 separate not guilty verdicts. According to my math, that's all of them. Now hundreds more face similar charges, but at least those 6 people did get off for all of the felony rioting related charges that they were facing. A brief description: there was conspiracy to riot, engaging in a riot, 5 counts of criminal property destruction, and all of that came despite the government's acknowledgement that it didn't have any evidence that those 6 people had done anything. They just know that the crowd did things and these people had been a part of the crowd. Turns out that might not be good enough to actually send someone to jail.
So a number of things arise out of this. So first, let me acknowledge that if you're the cops and a bunch of people threw stones through windows and caused not only property damage, but endangered people, but they're all wearing masks, I can understand why you'd be frustrated. Yeah. I get that, right? But you can't arrest a random 6 people and say, I don't know that it was you, but you're wearing a mask, so I'm just gonna put you in jail. That's not how our system works. So that's unfortunately one of the downsides, but it's a tiny little issue, right? Minuscule issue. There aren't a lot of situations where there's hundreds of people in mass.
That's getting more common.
Yeah, so now, so that's the most defensible part, and that's indefensible, and that's why they were acquitted.
Yeah, the defense lawyer argued that protesters have the right to protect their identity from extremists.
So I'm gonna get back to that in a second because that sounds interesting. Another thing the defense said is, what if you're at a football game and everybody's wearing the same jerseys and you saw a guy in a jersey punch someone? Do you arrest everyone in jerseys?
No, just 6 of them.
Right, you can't do that.
That's the thing.
Obviously, but now let's move to the second layer. They also arrested reporters and medics and other people that happened to be in the area. They haven't even tried them yet, and they're not going to, because they thought they had the most evidence on this 6. That's why they started with these 6. Yeah. That means everybody else is going to be let go. There's no way they're going to prosecute a journalist that was in the area or a legal advocate that was in the area if they couldn't even get the guys in the mass, right?
But wait, what if you found out that they did have some video, okay, and that video with evidence on it had been captured by Project Veritas and then given to federal prosecutors?
Come on, you rely on James O'Keefe's edited, doctored propaganda video. And of course, that's why you were laughed out of a courtroom. You gotta be embarrassed to bring this stuff forward. It didn't prove anything.
Yeah.
So now, look, the prosecutors here, man, and the whole thing is deeply embarrassing. One of them said, you can be a journalist and riot. You can be a medic and riot. I suppose theoretically, but did that journalist or that medic riot? Yeah. Do you have any evidence of it? I don't, but it theoretically could happen.
They don't.
It's not a great way to win a case.
Yeah, it's not common anyway.
Yeah, so it's preposterous. Now back to the protecting their identity. The Republicans make the case that they should be allowed to do dark money contributions because it's really important to the First Amendment rights of a lot of times corporations to be able to give in secret to politicians. So protecting their identity is apparently a First Amendment issue when they're not even talking. They're not protesting, they're not addressing grievances or any of that stuff. They're giving money, they're giving cash, right? That apparently is the right to protect your identity. But if you're actually speaking and you're a human being and you're protesting, you're not allowed to protect your identity according to federal authorities.
Well, money is speech, but speech, I don't know if it's speech.
But that's literally what they're saying, right? It's and corporations are people, but I don't know if people are actually people.
We moved to such a weird. Okay, like here's the problem. So we end up having to have a discussion about whether they should have to disclose. The corporations should have to disclose their donations. But I'm sitting here, and maybe you're sitting at home. I don't know why they can donate a single dollar in the first place. It's a goddamn corporation. It's made up of people. They can donate. Why can a corporation donate to a politician ever under any circumstances?
Of course they should be allowed to.
Their employees can already donate.
And if you allow them to donate, what do you think they're donating for? For charity? No, they're a corporation, they're not a person. The corporation only mission is to maximize profit. They are donating to our representatives to maximize their profit. And then people like Mitt Romney will say, corporations are people, my friend, because there are people inside the corporations. But as John pointed out, great, then they should do the donation.
Yeah.
And that should be capped. You just watched the video by the Young Turks, the home of the revolution. If you'd like to get the full show, come join us and become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.